Greetings, beautiful souls. Today's video is about the importance of balancing the left and right hemispheres and getting them to work together. So you have your two hemispheres of your brain, the left and right hemisphere, and we have been really a dominant society of action oriented, very left brain dominant. So the left brain is very masculine, the right brain is very feminine. Your left brain really focuses on the objective, the what's being seen, the gross matter, the plans, the goals. It's very focused and directed, works with symbols, and it really reads the environment, making sure you're safe. It's keeping information from going to the right side of the brain because of this safety check. It's called lateralization of the brain function. When we are really, the muscles we've been exercises in the brain have been more left dominant, we may need to balance it out with more right brain activities, painting, singing, dancing, free flowing, going with the flow, not really knowing where you're heading and just kind of wandering around, see where you end up. And so this right side of the brain can be focused and work that way, but also we want to stimulate the left and right brain to work together. And when this synchronization happens vibrationally, there is a magical opening to a very strong ability to have putting your consciousness sitting at source seat and directing the show. It's like a lucid dream in the waking day. You can really begin to open up more of your multidimensionality and have more instant manifestation. There's so much that can happen. We have more of that super conscious control when we're doing programming or impressing of our subconscious mind with impressions that we would want to be memorized, because your subconscious mind is 95% of your memory, and what's happening in front of you is coming from that subconscious mind. And 5% of your conscious brain is where you're actually inputting, new commands, new intentions, and hoping that these things stick. So when we want to balance and synchronize the left and right hemispheres, you can use things like Hemisync tapes. There's the Gateway tapes that are by the Monroe Institute, and I'm working through those right now. They're actually on the internet from the CIA disclosing it and letting these files be free. There was deep CIA study on the Gateway tapes from the Monroe Institute. They utilized them in, I think it was like 1977. And there's a very thorough explanation from their study of them, their use of them. And then actually all of those tapes are up online. You could also go to the Monroe Institute and order them. But you working with things like these Hemisync tapes with headphones, it basically is playing in alternate ears different frequencies. And let's say that the frequency on the right ear, was 40 hertz, where on the left ear it was 30. The 10 hertz is that magic number, apparently, that the brain will then try to synchronize the left and right together. It kind of like meets it in the middle and cancels out the other hertz and brings it into a synchronized pattern when it's a difference of 10 hertz, apparently from the CIA documentation on the study of these Monroe tapes. So utilizing things like this, you can also use binaural beats with headphones. Most importantly, you can meditate. Deep meditation will give you the stimulation, especially when you're really focusing on like doing the ascended breath, breathing up your spine, squeezing the lower centers, and stimulating that extra energy to go up to the brain. You're really activating and stimulating the whole brain itself, left and right hemispheres. And by prolonged deep meditation with slowing down the brain waves and synchronizing it with that breath, you're also going to stimulate this turning on of what I call the Buddha brain from Greg Braden's research, where when we look at epsilon and lambda, epsilon being 0 to zero point 0.04 hertz, where lambda is 100 to 200 hertz, those two brain rates, brain frequencies, actually turn on the whole brain. And I almost see it as like a wormhole and what they did is they studied Buddhist monks, and when they were in deep meditation, when either the brain went down to epsilon or it went up to lambda, the exact same thing would happen with that whole brain stimulation. And so I see it as a dematerialization for like bilocation or teleportation, or even just moving the body into pure ether and then rematerializing somewhere else. So from a dematerialized state, let's say is epsilon, and then you go into that wormhole and rematerialize with lambda. And so it's this shift that happens with that whole brain activation. So again, to recap, things that you can do at home is deep meditation. You can work with headphones, with Hemisync or binaural beats. And then last, you can simply begin to command for your whole brain to activate. This is something we talk about in the Reiki's book on Quantum Soul Awakens. And by just telling the whole brain, your whole body is a biocomputer. It's listening for commands. And so by telling and visualizing at the same time that you want your whole brain to illuminate and to work together and synchronize, your body is going to follow those cues. And especially with repetition, it's going to start to build out programs that are going to get that to be a consistent thing that you can turn on. And you can even code it with, like, saying that you wouldn't even have to put a whole long command in. But like if you synchronized that, I now activate my whole brain to activate and illuminate and work together, both hemispheres, and you visualize a whole brain illuminated in your mind's eye, or even with your eyes open etherically, just that symbol itself will begin to represent that command. So we invite you to start playing with any of these types of whole brain synchronization so that you have harmonized firing of neurons in the brain, really opening up new potential, and then opening up in the quantum field that new potential to literally stack up light in front of you and materialize. So when we do like 17 seconds or more holding a thought and holding a vision with a thought, and then more importantly, while that thought happens, what happens is it stimulates a feeling. And so if you hold for longer than 17 seconds, something you're really working on pulling into your reality, because you can see it behind your two eyes, you're manifesting it, even though the creation is already finished. If you're desiring it, it is there. And so when you visualize it and think about it, that stimulates a feeling. And then when you hold that feeling, which is what we would also call heart and mind coherence, because your mind is coherently creating that heart feeling, usually of love and higher enjoyment. When you hold that for 17 seconds or longer, it literally creates a firing and wiring of neurons together, and they are going to bring about that which you are seeing sooner. And the longer you do that in meditation, meaning repetition of day, let's say you do it for a week long, or like you do it several times a day for a week long, the more you put in that tall order of what you're visualizing and feeling, heart mind coherence, it is going to then particleize in front of you sooner. So whole brain synchronization, heart and mind coherence, meaning you want to feel and embody that which you're calling in. So if you're, not wanting to manifest something, let's say you have a negative thought or a negative vision, it comes in, just quickly shift it, clear, cancel, delete, and then move your attention to something you love. Just realize, it's going to be okay. You're not going to lock into that vision or that thought if you don't hold it for, more than 17 seconds. And what else did we want to share with you? I think that might just be it for today. Truth, was there something else? And then communicating with your heart, really finding any places is the last thing I'm hearing that, you don't want to resist the resistance. If you have resistance that shows up when you go to think about something, or you are doing these techniques and it stimulates old resistance, old trauma or drama, you don't want to just cake over it. You want to address it and deal with it. So take the time to, communicate with your heart or your inner child, your inner teacher, and ask, what do I need to know about what just showed itself, so that I can really clear this up and bring about new understanding, so that that can, be healed and mended and allowed for myself to not resist the resistance, because I want full access to be able to literally create these things to happen, or draw them in closer, for the creation is already finished. But if I've got resistance in the way, you're kind of canceling it out. So you might as well address it. So we send you so much love on this gorgeous day. I hope you enjoy it, and we will see you on the next one.